Equities will go down, bonds will take a hit, and who knows what's going to happen then? Is it a recession or a depression or a Great Depression? Nobody really knows. But I think the thing that we do know is that the government will try to avert that no matter what they do. And I believe that Bitcoin is an avenue to achieve that goal. If you transition from one economy into another economy, a fiat economy into a hard asset economy, you can avert that crisis. And I think that is what they will end up doing. They will need to create some sort of Bitcoin backed instrument to sell debt. And it might look something like STRC. It might look something like a Bitcoin bond or a Bit bond. I'm not sure. But Bitcoin is the only growth channel that lets us avert that monetary crisis.
One of the strongest points Mo makes is that many investors still fundamentally misunderstand Bitcoin scarcity. He references the famous quote, "The greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing the world he didn't exist." Mo adapts this idea to Bitcoin markets by arguing that the biggest illusion today is the belief that there is unlimited Bitcoin supply because of paper Bitcoin and synthetic exposure. For years, many believed institutional products and derivatives could suppress Bitcoin's price indefinitely, but Mo believes that illusion will eventually break. At some point, markets will suddenly recognize two realities. One, Bitcoin is truly scarce. Two, demand for Bitcoin continues increasing globally. When that realization fully arrives, Mo believes price discovery could become explosive.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
The story of the grasshopper and the ant, right? So, do you want to prepare? And to prepare means you're doing a very long term outlook, planning for the next 20, 30 years, maybe 50. And the cycle for politics is much shorter. It's 4 to 5 years. And within that 4 to 5 year cycle, there's maybe 2 years that you are quite productive. The first year, you're consolidating, reorganizing. And the last year, you're concerned about re-elections or you're leaving and you don't want to risk anything happening. So within each 4 to 5 year political cycle, there's maybe half of that to work with. And within that period, it's like you're fighting for attention to plan for a long term economic project that has a risk attached to it, political risk, economic risk, and just reputational risk. So that is kind of why I believe it's very challenging to get nation state adoption unless the head of the state is a Bitcoiner and they understand it and they've gone down the rabbit hole. But that's not the norm. Like if you look at Bhutan as an example, they had a very large lead because they mined so much Bitcoin. And then recently, I think in the last few months, they've been selling it. And I'm not sure why, because they could have borrowed against it. They could have done many things. They could have monetized it through selling options. And that's just not what we've seen. So I think you're kind of fighting for someone to understand Bitcoin and to think about economic growth in this angle of adopting a new form of money while they're worried about other things or they're involved in some war or conflict and they have to appear on the world stage and like say things that we're going to help defend or we're not going to defend, but it's just a constant struggle. And you kind of have to couple that with a just the innate inability of people to understand money. And there's an interesting AI article that came out the other day, which is some AI models are solving these mathematical problems that have been unsolved for maybe 100 years or more around that level. But these mathematical problems, every mathematician, they're saying they took a wrong turn when they encountered that problem. And because they took that initial wrong turn to solve the problem, they never solved them. And that's why they are unsolved. But AI models are able to reason through it in a totally different, unhuman way, and they solve these problems. And I think there's a direct parallel there to Bitcoin that, you know, you have to have this. weird genetic mutation that you're interested in privacy, sovereignty, bearer assets, the truth, mathematical purity, computer science, and you have all these kind of mental genetic mutations, and you kind of fall down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, and you understand Bitcoin, and other people just don't. They might have one genetic mutation, which is mental genetic mutation, which is they like hard assets, and then went the other way as the 99% of or 100% of mathematicians in that case, but they go down the road of gold and they think gold is great, and they can't get over this mental hurdle that there is something newer and better and is world changing. It can, and there are creative ways to solve all these types of problems. Bhutan, I'm hopeful too that they can do it. I mean, it is in their own best interest to create some sort of Bitcoin instrument like this. But there's other countries that we're talking with and we're engaging with, and we've been helping them draft proposals and run ideas back and forth. But I think it is inevitable that some country will do something. It might be the states. Who knows? Because if you look at the state of the world, debt is increasing. The US is nearing 40 trillion debt, and that's not slowing down. The bigger it gets, the faster the interest is going to be. And there is really no way to grow out of that. So you kind of have two avenues here. One is the AI super growth phase. I think that's the Elon Musk route, that AI will supercharge everything. The economy will grow 100x, and GDP will grow massively. And then you have the other more um, more negative view, which is there's going to be some major problems there. Debt is going to increase faster than economic growth and GDP, and there's really no way out of that. And that means there's going to be a big correction in the markets, and you know equities will go down, bonds will take a hit, and who knows what's going to happen then? Is it a recession or a depression or a Great Depression? Nobody really knows. But I think the thing that we do know is that the government will try to avert that no matter what they do. And I believe that Bitcoin is an avenue to achieve that goal. If you transition from one economy into another economy, a fiat economy into a hard asset economy, you can avert that crisis. And I think that is what they will end up doing. They will need to create some sort of Bitcoin backed instrument to sell debt. And it might look something like STRC. It might look something like a Bitcoin bond or a Bit bond. I'm not sure. But Bitcoin is the only growth channel that lets us avert that monetary crisis.
Mo also discusses what he calls the recurring cycle of FUD surrounding Bitcoin. Every few years, the same narratives return. Quantum computers will destroy Bitcoin. Altcoins are technologically superior. Bitcoin is outdated. He notes that previous cycles featured heavy promotion of privacy coins like Zcash as supposed Bitcoin replacements. But over time, these narratives tend to fade while Bitcoin continues surviving and strengthening. Mo believes much of this fear is psychological. Investors become nervous during market downturns and begin searching for alternatives or reasons why Bitcoin may fail. Yet Bitcoin repeatedly emerges stronger after each cycle.
Billions every week. And I don't think people understand that that is not sustainable. You know the saying, the greatest trick the devil ever played on the world was convincing the world that he didn't exist. The greatest trick, the Bitcoin markets has played is they're convincing people that there's unlimited Bitcoin and paper Bitcoin can suppress price indefinitely. But I don't think that's true. You're going to see a suddenly movement, and everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, Bitcoin is scarce. And yes, there's a lot of demand for Bitcoin, and there's still a lot of demand for Bitcoin, right? This is why I don't think cycles matter. If you look at the landscape now, like when have we ever had a buyer that is completely insensitive to price? That has never happened before Strategy and other treasury companies emerge, right? I don't think we're going to have that just because the market structure of Bitcoin has fundamentally changed, right? Like you have the ETFs, and the ETFs was the main reason why I said Bitcoin can have this massive run because there's no more blocker. Every prior cycle bull run, has been muted because the exchanges could not onboard people quickly enough, or Coinbase keeps going down. But there's always been some negative catalyst headwind that stopped us from going. But with the ETFs, it's almost like it's like a layer two, for lack of a better word. There is no bottleneck. Anybody with a Robinhood brokerage can go and buy Bitcoin, right? Or Fidelity investment account, you name it, any number of those, right? And now you have more ETFs. Morgan Stanley has their ETF now, right? So you can see where things are going. Um, and the structure has changed. People are not buying Bitcoin at 70K anymore, or 77 or 8, whatever it is now. It's still massively undervalued. They're buying Bitcoin at 40, $50. They're thinking in terms of IBIT, or $60 for FBTC, or whatever Morgan Stanley's is, right? The unit bias has shifted there. And then you combine that with the treasury companies, and I just don't see us ever having an 80% drawdown in the future, because it's really hard actually to push an asset class down that much, especially when it is finite, and especially when you have these entities that are able to buy at any price. Like if we went to 60 and Sailor was not able to generate capital to buy, then I would think, yeah, that it maybe will go lower. Who knows? But the fact that we can defend it so aggressively and with so much demand, it just shows me like it is a different landscape now. It's totally different than anything we've ever seen before. This time is different. No, there was something else. So it was it was Bitcoin lacking fungibility and privacy, and then there was a big push for Zcash, right? So it's just like, if there's any cycle, it's a cycle of FUD, right? And the same old narratives come back again and again, that Bitcoin's there's a big problem with Bitcoin because it's not private, and then people are pushing Zcash on the market, and then of course the quantum FUD. Quantum computers are going to kill Bitcoin, and it's dangerous. And you couple that with people's just natural apprehension of a 4-year cycle, like going to the down leg of the cycle, and it all kind of pushes Bitcoin price lower. And I think it should not surprise anybody at this point. If you look back at the history of altcoins, especially like Ethereum, it's just hack after hack after hack. And as the ecosystem has grown larger, you see more and more hacks too. So it's just more reason to be Bitcoin only. And a lot of people miss this point. The Bitcoin maximalist mindset is not that we don't we don't, well, we don't like the other stuff, but it's more about protecting your time. Sailor has the famous quote, guard your energy, guard your time. And that's really what it's all about. Do you want to always be chasing after some gain, some yield on some DeFi stack that's recursive in nature? Or do you want to buy and hold Bitcoin and have peace of mind? So that incident that you're talking about, I kind of am aware of something that happened, but I have no idea what the details are. I know it's like some recursion and some funds are trapped, but I don't know exactly what happened, nor do I want to know exactly what happened, because that's just the same thing that has been happening for the last decade. And, you know, your most valuable resource is your time. Why do you want to care about these things? Why not just buy the one immutable, decentralized asset and sit on it and enjoy your life? Definitely, these are the tools for hope. Like, not just any AI, but self-hosted AI, right? It's like bearer money, and then you have self-sovereign AI that you can run locally. So these are promising things, and actually, like, a lot of the frontier models that are open are coming out of China, right? Maybe one from Facebook, but there's a big push now to release these open source models, and that is really, really a beacon of light in a very dark time, that you have the potential to have these tools at your disposal and you're not controlled. At the same time that's happening, I think there's legislation in the US being pushed to rate limit your use of a car with sensors and cameras inside to detect if you can drive it, which is definitely the opposite of self-sovereign and a bearer type instrument, right? It's not your car anymore. But all of these things are coming to a head. You have increasing control of money and the push for CBDCs. That's kind of died off now. But,
I think it's still bubbling out there, yeah.
yeah, it is still bubbling. And then you have this push for open AI. And at the same time, the centralized AI providers are throttling or limiting or trying to control people's usage or off ramping, kicking you off their platforms. So it's just definitely, it is the battlefield with different ideologies playing out and all taking shots at one another on that battlefield.
One of Mo's most philosophical points concerns Bitcoin maximalism. Critics often portray Bitcoin maximalists as tribal or hostile toward alternative cryptocurrencies, but Mo says the real philosophy is much simpler. Bitcoin maximalism is about protecting your time. He explains that the crypto industry constantly tempts people into chasing yield farming, D-schemes, recursive financial products, speculative altcoins, endless hacks and collapses. But Bitcoin offers something different: peace of mind. Instead of constantly monitoring complicated systems, Bitcoiners can simply hold an immutable, decentralized asset and focus on living their lives. Mo even admits that when major crypto failures occur, he intentionally avoids learning the details because the same patterns repeat endlessly. To him, the most valuable resource is not money, it is time.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.